Hi and welcome to a quick tutorial on using motion guides with new Motion Tweens. So not classic tweens, they're the new Motion Tweens that were introduced in Flash CS4. If you don't know how to use those, check out my tutorials on new Motion Tweens and the motion editor in Flash and Animate CC. So if you've used motion guides with classic tweens, it involves having a separate layer, and they can be a bit fiddly to snap objects onto the beginning and end of a motion line. If you haven't checked out my tutorials on using classic tweens with motion guides, do check those out. But if you're using these new motion tweens that look like this, great big blue bar, then there's actually a much easier way of creating a motion guide. So on this layer called Draw Line, I'm just going to grab my pencil tool and draw a really wiggly line like this. And instead of having to snap the rocket onto the beginning and end, I can just cut that line that I've just drawn. It's a stroke, and it has to be a stroke for this to work. I can cut that with Command or Control X. And you can see at the moment on my rocket, if I play that, there's no extra keyframes. There's just one keyframe at the beginning. I've not created any property keyframes or done any animation at all. I click on that layer, and I'm going to do Command or Control Shift V to paste in place. That's the shortcut for pasting in place. And you can see as soon as I paste it, I've got my rocket symbol following that motion without any snapping it to the beginning and end of keyframes, which is really, really convenient. I can also click on the first frame of my new motion tween, go over to the properties and click this orient to path option. And when I do, it will convert every single frame of my animation to property keyframes, and it will follow the motion of my path there. This is obviously a weird rocket that flies backwards. Let's try pasting another line. So I've got this spiral layer here. So you can see I've got this spiral that I drew in Illustrator and I've just pasted it into Animate. It's a stroke. So I can Command or Control X to cut that. Click on my rocket, and we've already got a motion line, but that doesn't matter. I can do Control or Command Shift V and just paste that in place. And we've now got the rocket following that spiral. So that's great. With pasting paths, you sometimes get this weird shrinkage that's just happened with my spiral there. But thankfully, it's possible to just click on the motion line with the free transform tool, and we can scale up the motion line without scaling up the graphic symbol. So the rocket stays the same size, but the path becomes bigger. We can also rotate the path if we want and do all kinds of stuff with it. So although I tend to use classic tweens for most things because I think they're a lot simpler and easier to use, for motion guides, the new motion tweens are definitely a lot easier. So that's the end of this quick tutorial. Check out using motion guides with the new motion tweens yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.